This is our plan of attack.
Banks have become an essential threat to our democracy. So consider this justice.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution Radio! The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Barbara Jean Lindsey is an internationally acclaimed psychic, spiritual healer, author, and founder of the online mystery school, Esoteric University. As the Cosmic Oracle, she is a conduit to the powers that be to answer your questions about your future self, past lives, current career, love. She shines light into the darkness to illuminate what was, what may be, and beyond. The readings and advice given by Barbara Jean Lindsey are for entertainment purposes only, should not take the place of any medical, legal, or financial advice given to you by a qualified professional, and are not a substitute for medical, legal, or financial advice. If you need a doctor, call a doctor. If you need to be expanded, call the Cosmic Oracle.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cosmic Oracle Show. This is your host, Barbara Jean Lindsey, and we are just so excited to be here this evening. I am in a new place again, so let's we're going to take it live right now too on Facebook. Barbara Jean Lindsey on Facebook. We're connecting live right now, and so the Cosmic Oracle goes live right now. Hello, welcome everybody to the Cosmic Oracle Show. It's Friday. It is, what's the date? October 19th, 2018. I'm your host, Barbara Jean Lindsey. I'm coming to you live from Camp Verde, just outside Sedona, Arizona. So I'm really excited to be here this evening, and I have an amazing guest that I'm just really excited to be here too. Hello there. So she'll be on in just a few moments. I do want to thank you for tuning in to the Cosmic Oracle Show. And this is Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. So you can just go to freedomslips.com and hit that button there, and it'll take you to donate. And all your donations go on 100% to the station to keep us on the air, to keep the lights on, and no one gets paid a dime. It's all volunteer here. So be assured that every dime that you do donate to freedomslips.com, Revolution Radio, goes directly to the station to keep our over 80 shows now that have been on for years. And this is my end of my third year, and next year will be my fourth year. So I will not be doing psychic readings this evening, but I really am excited to invite you to my newest guest. I met her through my good friend Janet Lesson at a Stargate conference, the Stargate to the Cosmos conference. It's starting October 24th, I think it is, through the 29th it'll be in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the Ramada Inn there. So you can go to stargatetothecosmos.org and check it out. And my new friend that you'll be meeting is going to be on teaching there as well. And so there's quite a lineup there. And so I wanted to bring her on the station today because a part of our show is dedicated to people with their extraordinary stories, that this is a good place to be able to tell your story and that you will be respected and honored. And just as long as you speak your truth, there's no problem, right? And the truth is the truth is the truth, no matter how out there it is, that this is a place that you can tell your story. And what we're finding is by you telling your story, then it helps other people come forward to tell their truth and their stories. And then it starts getting connected. And then we have right now, like the experiencer movement and disclosure coming. So without further ado, I'll bring my friend in, Geraldine, and let me bring you onto the station. But before I do, I want to tell you a little bit about Geraldine. She is going to be a speaker, a panelist, and doing a workshop and a vendor at the Stargate to the Cosmos Expo coming up. And Geraldine is an intuitive DNA reprogrammer and an Ascension coach. And on October 15th, 2013, Geraldine experienced a vivid abduction from her bedroom window where she recounts being taken on board and a ship and meets tall grays that introduce her to her 8 hybrid children. So, and in this, the next morning she encounters a hypersensitivity to the human electromagnetic field. And so this discovery initiates a journey to find the truth about what happened. And if you want to go ahead and call in, Geraldine, we could do it that way for sure. Her first hypnotherapy in June 2017 resulted in the discovery of repeated abductions originating in her childhood. She recounts her abductions through her regressions, in which she'll be talking about this evening. And she brings forth information regarding the universe and ancient DNA alterations here on planet Earth that operate to control the population through hidden government manipulations. And it doesn't end there. She has quite a story. We'll be talking about her regressions that she just had done, and we'll go deep down the rabbit hole of abduction and the understanding behind the hybridization program here and off the Earth, and how they operate this program among humans. So we're going to bring Geraldine on now. I'm going to give her a call. Are you here, Geraldine? Or I'm going to have to let me give her a call. And that is on, I just had it here for a second. It's on meditation, I remember. Where did I put it? Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me find it. I just put her in my storage here on my Skype. So let's see if I can find her again. And what was it under? Oh, let me look at my phone and I'll find it. I'm just starting to learn how to do all of this. So let's see. Here it is, Geraldine. And we're going to see what her Skype is. I remember it's meditation something, Geraldine. So we'll get you on here. Let me find it again. Okay, let me go to Resends. There it is, info at Bay Area. So her Skype is info at Bay Area. There it is. All right, we got it. We're going to bring her in. We're going to add her to the show right now. Thanks for being patient, everyone. Hello, Geraldine. We're calling you now to come into the show. And hopefully you'll answer. Okay, we're going to try this. We're ringing her now. So stay tuned, everybody. You're going to love this speaker that we have today on the show. Now, it's a little slow. I'm coming from a little bit out in the country here in outside Camp Verde in Arizona. So if we can't pull her in this way, we might try something else. So hang in there, everybody. We're coming to you live from Camp Verde, Arizona, and we're bringing in Geraldine Orozco. Okay, and that didn't happen. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to call her on the phone and we'll do it that way. Okay? So here we go, Geraldine. I'm just going to call you on your phone because we can't seem to pull that up. So here we go. And you're on Facebook. Here we go. Here we go. Sorry, everyone. We're trying to pull this all together, okay? So we are live on Facebook as well. And we're going to call Geraldine on the show now. We're going to bring in Geraldine Orozco. Geraldine Orozco will be our guest this evening on the Cosmic Oracle Show as soon as I can pull her in. And I can't seem to pull her in on Skype, so I'm just going to pull her in on my cell phone, and we'll do it that way. So here we go. Geraldine, I'm just going to call you right now, and we're going to just do it this way. Okay, I'm going to put you on speaker. And so we do have Geraldine, and we'll have to ask her how she pronounces her last name, or Orozco, and she'll be on as an interview. Hello, Geraldine. Hi, I can't hear you very well, so you'll have to speak up if you can and put yours on speaker.
Hi, Barbara.
There you are.
There you are.
Gosh. Woo-hoo.
Finally.
Finally, we didn't give up at all. So welcome to the Cosmic Oracle Show. I'm so glad you're with us this evening.
Thank you so much. Same here. It's an honor to be here, and thank you for having me.
I look forward to meeting you in person at the Stargate conference as well.
No, I'm so excited, and we're almost there. So I can't wait to hear you're speaking there as well. Is that right?
I am. I'll be telling my story and doing a workshop as well.
Oh,
so
my gosh.
There's a lot of women represented at this conference, which I really am happy about as well.
I know. That is so wonderful to see that, to have that feminine energy and that perspective, which is really needed because, it's good to have those two perspectives, especially in this field that has been run mostly by men for a very long time.
Yeah, I remember going to my first conference and it was mostly men there. Like, well, this could be a good thing. This could be a good thing.
Yeah, that's correct. That is right.
So I thought, since we at the Cosmic Oracle Show, one of our main messages is for people to tell their stories, and I know you have an amazing story, and I when I heard it, I just said, wow, she needs to get this out to the world. And so I'm happy to be a part of it. And so I'd like for you, if you would, to begin your story, whatever you feel comfortable with, and we'll just kind of take it from there and see where we go. How does that sound? Oh, and I can't hear you. I can't hear you right now. Oh, we're having a little bit of technical things here. Okay, she's fixing it, so. Okay, let's try it again. Oh, it ended, so, okay, no, we're here. Okay.
How about now? Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Okay,
now I can.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm out in the woods, out in Camp Verde outside of Sedona right now, so.
Oh, wonderful. So that might be a little connection issue, but that's okay. We'll work it out.
Around it, we're focused, and when we're gathered, so we're going to make it happen.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, I can start telling you a little bit about my story. Well, before I got into any of this, I was an event planner for 10 years, a little over 10 years. And I had a high-end event planning company here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And, my life was dedicated to doing events and for people and making them happy and making their dream come true of having their typical life of getting married, finding that loving partner, and so on and so forth, settling down, right? This very typical way of living that we all see. Now, when I had my first experience, I didn't know anything about alien life or that it would ever affect me personally in any way. So when it happened to me, it completely changed my paradigm in such a deep way that I had to go through a couple existential crises since then. And I'm going to share the story with you. I'll tell you a little bit about how that happened. Now, my first, my abduction, all of this began in 2013 on October 14th when I had my first abduction. And I was in my bedroom, and I was sleeping, just a regular night out of any night. And I wake up for some reason, all of a sudden, abruptly, and I noticed that my room is illuminated, and I didn't think much of it. You know, I was like, okay, it's good lighting in the room. But I look down at my phone, and I notice that the time is exactly 3:33 a.m. And I noticed that was interesting because I had never seen number sequences before this moment. I've heard about people seeing them, but I've never experienced it myself. And so I got out of bed and I walk over to my window. And as I'm noticing the illumination stronger and stronger, I was curious. I became curious as to why there was a light in my room. Now, the way that my room is set up, it's on kind of a curved street where a car would have to be on the opposite side of the road, illuminating their light, turning their car slightly to illuminate directly into my window for it to be that bright in my room. So it's not something that would normally happen for a car to just be driving down and illuminate the room. So I got out of bed and I went to the window to see what it was. And as I looked through the window, I am peering through the blinds, and the light becomes even brighter, and so bright that my eyes begin to hurt, almost as if you're looking at a flash of light for a prolonged amount of time. And all of a sudden, my entire body became paralyzed. And
were you frightened?
What's that?
Were you frightened?
I was terrified, but not as terrified as I was about to be in a moment, because there was this moment of being pulled through the wall, through the window, literally. And that feeling of going through the wall is almost like your body is being torn apart and then brought back together again when you're on the other side. I mean, it's a feeling that I don't ever want to relive, and you could never replicate. It's very interesting. And of course, later I understand about this because we're talking about the vibrational frequency of a body realigning itself to the matter of a wall and then realigning it, putting it back together to another frequency to become a solid again on the other side.
Right.
So, you know, and so that's a very interesting experience to go through. Now, when I ended up on the other side of my window, the first thing that I see is this brilliant white light with these tall six shadows. And they were grays. They were tall grays, about 9, 8, 9, 10 feet.
And so, can you describe what they looked at? We have a lot of people on the show right now that have never, this is their first time hearing any kind of a story like this. And so when you say gray, some of them don't even know what that means. So
absolutely. So when we talk about grays, now the species in itself can be, from a DNA perspective, can be a part of many different branches of families and many different species. Okay, so it's not to say that a gray species only belongs to one set of a group of a race that's all grays. They can be intertwined and mixed in their DNA to belong to different groups. Okay, now this particular group was a Pleiadian kind of a group that derived from a Pleiadian lineage. But they are 8 to 9, 10 feet, and they have very very strange grainy gray skin. They have their large eyes, which are the classical depiction of what an alien would look like, except they're taller, very slender. The body almost looks like it has some kind of a coating, some kind of a suit that they're wearing, but it's so skin tight and so formed next to their body that it really looks like their physical body. And behind their eyes, you will see that it's almost as if the eye itself is hiding behind there a set of lights, almost like shining white, like pupils. Several of them. It's not just one. So it's pretty impressive. And you see that through their glasses, or what it would seem like glasses covering their pupil. because you can see the light reflecting through. Okay, so it's very interesting, and their bodies are, very slim, very slender, almost skeletal-like.
Did it feel robotic-like, kind of robotic, maybe a little, or did you get any sense of that?
Do their bodies what?
Look robotic? Is there kind of a robotic feel to it at all, or?
Not to these ones. I have seen other species that do, and I would say that the smaller grays are more robotic than these ones. These are very fluid. They're very fluid, and they move along with everything. And like I say, depending on the amount of DNA, we're going to talk about DNA tonight, a little bit about how these combinations end up with these races. But depending on the DNA combinations that they are made of, it'll adjust their ability to shift multidimensionally. Now, a lot of the technology that these beings are utilizing is so advanced that sometimes they can screen themselves to appear anything that they need to appear to you.
To make you
correct, to make you comfortable, or to whatever it is that they need to do. And I'm going to explain that in a little bit, because I've had many different experiences, as you will see, that I found out later. Now, these beings, as he approaches me, or he or she approaches me, one of them comes closer to me on the side, and at this point, I'm horrified because, this is something like out of a movie, and I haven't watched very many alien movies before this, so it was just so amazing to Yeah, it's so amazing to experience that. But the incredible thing is that the terror that I was feeling in my stomach and my body was so tense and tight, besides being paralyzed. He spoke to me telepathically in my mind, and it's as if you're receiving these images and thoughts, complete thoughts in your mind. And basically he says, calm. And my entire body goes back into this neutrality where my emotions leave my body and I'm back in a neutral state. And so this being pulls me alongside with him inside of this ship now, because this is literally a classic ship. It's like the lenticular shaped ship. Mm-hmm. And you can see the metal. The design is so advanced and beautiful and complex at the same time that our technology has never matched such a thing. I've never seen something similar to that. Now, as the five of them go back inside the ship and this being brings me inside, I'm noticing the detail of the ship, the flooring, the back railing coming into some kind of a landing inside the ship. And as he brings me alongside with him, he waves his hand again, and everything around me changes again. It shifts. Okay. So what's happening here is that they are working with a very advanced holographic technology within the ship, okay? And he changed all the surroundings. So I'm walking on the ship, and then next thing you know, the entire thing changes into a beautiful blue sky, beautiful green grass, and I'm seeing these large, modern, obtuse buildings. And as I'm seeing them, I'm noticing how perfect they are, to the point where they look fake. They look very fake. They look so like a set of a movie or something like that, And so I'm walking through, looking at all of this. The sky looks very fake, and he walks me towards the front of one of these buildings, where I step up into the building, and on the far side I can see a very fake-looking Japanese garden and a table and some furniture. And at this point, it's almost as if I can move, but I cannot feel and I cannot speak. Okay.
Could you see your body?
Yes.
Could you see your body at all?
No. At this point, I can't, because my neck is paralyzed.
Yeah.
So it's very stiff. It's almost as if all you can do is move your head slightly and maybe your pupils a little bit, but the rest of your body is quite numb, and it's quite a disconnect that's being created here from your mind and your body. I mean, you're kind of just doing whatever they are directing the body to do, in a sense, and almost as if you are gliding. You're not even really walking. So it's just a confusing experience. You're not sure if you're in charge of your body at that point. Obviously, this person is directing your body and how you're going to be moving. And but at that point, I just remember turning back to look back at where I had come in from. And the first thing I see is 2 tall grays with a woman, a short woman in the middle. And when I look closer, it was my aunt. Now, when I saw this, I was terrified again. And I was like, well, what's she doing here? And she was in her nightgown, the nightgown that she wears. And her hair was, she has really beautiful thick hair, but it was just all here in her face. And she was, you can tell that she was zombied out as well. Like she wasn't conscious. Her eyes were glazed. And I'm watching her walk in front of me with these beings. And immediately as I start to feel, sorry, were you saying something?
No, I'm just listening. I'm right with you, going right along with you, I think.
Okay, yeah. So as soon as I start to feel anxiety, everything around me shifts again. And now I'm faced inside of the ship. I'm looking at these 3 grays in front of me, a short one and 2 tall ones. The original one that had brought me into the ship is right next to me. And to the right of me, there's a round, maybe oval table that has this blue glowing light that shows the hologram of the universe, of the galaxies with different planets. Beautiful, beautiful, so perfect, so complex. And beyond that, I can see something that would look like maybe like a control panel of some sort, but nothing like our technology with buttons or grotesque, designs. Very clean, sleek, minimalistic lights that obviously are either functioning through telepathic direction or through heat sensory of some sort. But you can tell that there is nothing that protrudes. It's very clean design. And then you can see the glass of the ship, or something that would seem like glass, and the stars outside. So as this is all happening within a second, right? A glance of looking at all of this. And as I scan the room, I'm seeing the ship in front of me. But what I notice is that I can see through the ship. The ship almost starts to, become translucent, and I can see the stars beyond that. So just incredible to see the ship, a technology that is unparalleled to what we have here. And the 3 beings in front of me pull out a projection of a hologram, a prismatic hologram of a blue prism. And they show me 8 layers with information that they're going to share with me. And that's when everything starts to happen. Mm-hmm. The first of these cubes that they bring up in front of me, it is the 3 of us here. I am standing in front of them, and they open up the holograms around us so that we are immersed in them. Mm-hmm. And the first one, they start to show me some alien writing. And this alien writing starts to be written so fast. And I'm trying to read, I'm trying to capture as many symbols as possible to try to understand and try to grasp what they're trying to communicate to me. But it's impossible. It's impossible. I mean, the symbols that they're using are a combination of algorithms, mathematic equations, and the only ones that I was recognizing was infinity cycle, the symbol of an infinity cycle. Every single dot changes the complexity of the concept on such a deep level. And we're talking about massive concepts of consciousness, very expansive way of thinking. And it's almost as if they speak in infinities, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like kind of like a hieroglyphic, where each of them are like a small fine picture of art, right, that you can perceive.
That is correct. And every single line represents something else. Every dot shifts the complete meaning of it. And when we talk about meaning or deciphering, we're talking about many dimensions of information. And I mean, when I was looking at this, I'm picking up these things. I don't know if it's a telepathic explanation of what I'm looking at, or it's because you automatically pick up the information from what you're seeing, but every single line has multi-dimensions to it, because I guess you're talking about time, space, and then the whole. So almost like a longitude number would kind of describe the location of a place based on its longitude and latitude, but this has different dimensions. So yes, it's like a hieroglyphic. Each one of these symbols represents something. And so I have a little bit of a photographic memory when it comes to writing and art and images. And so I kind of took these images and the very first thing I did was write them down the very next day.
I'm so glad you did.
I know. But there's a story to that, because I had 3 pages of that information available. And after all of this happened to me in 2013, I kind of put it away because I went through a transition point where, I had to make a choice to pick either my career or to focus on these topics. And in 2013, my choice was to do the sensible thing, which was to raise my family, get married, have children, settle down, and focus on my career. Exactly. An absolute earth life, right? And so in order to do that, you have to kind of put these incredible thoughts out of your mind because it doesn't work. And at that time, the business was well known in the Bay Area, and I was getting published internationally. So if somebody were to look me up and they would see me talk about aliens next to my event planning, I wasn't sure how they were going to take it, So, and that's unfortunate.
And you were still kind of wrapping your brain around everything that happened as well. It takes time. Tremendously. And I'll explain that process to you. It was really quick. And that's something that kind of makes this story a little different. But so what happened is that I had all these pages inside of a notebook, and I put them in my garage because I was like, let me just put this away for now. Now, years later, when I got my first regression, I went back to find them, and I only found 1 page of the 3 pages that I made. And I know, I tore down my house looking for the remaining of the pages. But from the notebook, they were missing. Why that is, I don't know. How that is, I have no idea. I have that notebook, and I bring it with me to my presentations to show people. And I talk about that in the presentation. I'll be talking about that in a couple of weeks. But so moving on, they moved this out of the way, and then they show me the universe. And they show me that I am coming from a planet called Maya in the Pleiades. They say that this is where I had my most recent timeline with this group of people, with these elders. I was working with them, and they showed me that I'm sitting there speaking to a large amount of people. And they said that it's similar to what I'm doing now. So, it was beautiful to see, but at the same time, think of our earthly life. It was hard to grasp that concept of alien life on such an advanced level, talking on these subjects or subjects of consciousness or awareness. And then they eliminate that for me. And then they show me the next prism, little yellow lights. And these little yellow lights expand before me. And before I know it, one of the beings is telling me that these are my hybrid children. And I was so shocked that I didn't even have time to process what that even meant. And the next thing I know is I see this beautiful child in front of me, this child with blonde hair, these magnificent blue eyes. And the eyes are so complex that they are obviously larger than ours, almost as if they fit within the actual ocular socket, if you can imagine that. And just very deep eyes that we haven't seen, almost a mix of an animal's eyes, like a cat eyes and a human eye, but very deep, and it has a lot of information. And so as I'm meeting this child,
the first emotion that comes over my body is this connection, this powerful connection, and this recognition. And I can almost see myself in this child, you know. And as I'm seeing the child, he is approaching me, and I'm starting to feel the emotions and the thoughts in his mind. And I felt completely naked. It's almost as if he knew everything about me since the very, very beginning of time. It was just amazing. And I met 4 of my children in that experience. And I was introduced to 8 of them, 8 little lights. 8 of them were my children, but I was only introduced to 4 of them. And now the funny thing about this is that all of them were different. They were all a little bit different. This little child, this boy, was more of a humanoid with these incredible eyes, and yet he had the same textured skin as the Greys. Okay, as the Greys. So it was very interesting. The second boy was a young man around 26 years old, and he was more of a reptilian. He had more of a reptilian type of texture to his skin, more of a greenish, grayish hint. And he had like little mounds on his head inside of very frail looking hair, you know. So it was very interesting. The body shape was slender, but at the same time, it had like these protrusions around the skin and around the body. So, you know, it was just interesting to notice these details in the children as I was introduced to them. And there was one of the young girls that had these amazing eyes that it was like a human iris, but at the very center was a slit of a cat eye. And it would move in the 2 different directions, like the 2 pupils. It almost said that they had 2 overlapping pupils that would communicate with each other in some way. I don't even understand how that would work. But the interesting
eyes of the eye, or where the pineal gland is there, so there would be 3 eyes, or just 1 eye that looked.
No, it was 2 eyes, but just the pupil itself, the complexity of the pupil was like a pupil within a pupil. So it was very interesting to see that. Just regular 2 eyes, yeah. And but the interesting thing about this hybrid is that I was introduced to this hybrid several times in dream time as a child. And this is a reoccurring dream that I used to have since I was 5 years old. I remember my mother bringing this child to me. And as a child, I was thinking, you know, I wonder if I'm going to have a little sister that has blonde hair. I don't know how, but I was like thinking maybe I'll have a little sister, or maybe this is my child in the future. But how funny is it that when I recognized that child, it was instant recognition and connection. And I was like, oh my God, that's where that dream was from. But when I'm saying reoccurring, I'm saying 40, 50 times having this dream, not just once.
Acclimated, you think, to it?
What's that?
That you were maybe being acclimated for that original visitation over the years. So
possibly, yes, absolutely. Well, as you will find out, you know, I am a lifelong abductee. Okay, so this is just the tail end of some of experience that I had. But yes, absolutely. It was almost like an acclimation. And these little golden drops of information that they kind of leave you throughout your life, like a trail of information, which is interesting and something that I really look forward to exploring further with other experiencers to see their experience. That's why it's so important to talk about this, Barbara. It is. And
just some of the things that you're saying from my experience, and I know all the people that are listening, if they've had experience, they're going to relate. And we'll connect the dots. We'll start connecting it.
That's exactly right. And even we learn about their technology. We learn about how they're doing their procedures. I think that's incredibly important so we understand maybe in the future how to deal with all of this as well. So Yeah, that was my introduction to my hybrid children. And you know, as I'm being introduced to these beautiful children, I'm starting to have this interaction, this connection with them, this very deep maternal feeling comes over, and my thoughts start to come in. They flood me, like, you know, how can I leave these children behind now? What do I do from here? How come nobody told me about this? I mean, and for me at that moment, you don't even have the question, how did they come to be? That didn't even cross my mind yet. You know, that didn't even cross my mind till later. But it was just that instant connection and concern for them, to want to be there for them, that comes over here. It's a very instinctual, right, reaction. And so I start to feel this anxiety, and I'm like, you know, you can't take me away. Should I stay here? Can I please stay? And all of these thoughts are happening pretty quickly. And the gray is communicating and responding to that by saying, you know, why are you suffering? Don't respond, you know, don't suffer. Don't you understand that we are all connected? That was the thought that he is putting in my mind telepathically. And immediately my children disappear from in front of me, and he changes everything and shows me the planet Earth, and he shows me the matrix, what we call the matrix. Mm-hmm. And he introduces the matrix to me in a way where he is showing me these flowers in a field, and he zooms into one of the petals, and as I look at, you know, down to the center level of the petal, and the construct of this beautiful flower, I'm seeing almost like lines of an algorithm, creating a net. And it really is very much like the Matrix, the movie, but not exactly like that, a little different. And basically it's like a net. And so he zooms out and he shows me the city, and he says, look, this is, you know, everything is the same. There is no separation. And the only thing that keeps you together is the soul. And as I'm looking at the people walking down the street here in this holographic image, I see this yellow light, or this light in the center of each human soul. And I'm seeing that is the only alive, conscious thing within the entire matrix construct of a city or a place. And so that was a very overwhelmingly powerful thing to experience, to see, because, you know, we get so caught up in our lives. You know, we get so caught up in the things that are here immediately in front of us, and we forget to question, really, you know, what is really our purpose here? What are we doing here? And of all this suffering and all of our construct of our life, of having to, you know, we go to school, we get our education, we get our career, we get married, you know, we raise the children, and then we die, you know, and that's kind of our life cycle. I mean, why are we not questioning beyond that? You know, what is it? And what is all of this here for? And sometimes,
right? That's where all the fun is.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. And the thing is if most of us would really go down those difficult questions, because they cause us to have to leave our comfort zone, right? And when we go and start getting answers, even more, there are some things that have to be sacrificed. And when you go down this path of truth, you know, it's not easy. And that's something that a lot of these enlightened people and people that are watching today, you know, they go through these awakenings and dark nights of the soul, and they feel overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. And for that purpose, you know, I say, you know, always look for the highest truth, but always coming from your own intuition, what is real for you, without looking towards others, you know, because we have to be able to find our own truth within us. And so, you know, to conclude this story, I am basically offered to feel for the first time in my entire life what it means to be a source essence, without any connection to my family, my friends. And they show me this nebula, this beautiful nebula, rainbow nebula. And as I'm floating, seemingly floating inside of this holographic nebula around me, I start to feel this unconditional love and connection to everything, but at the same time, as an individual, as a fractal of source. Mm-hmm. And that emotion was so powerful, Barbara.
I know. I felt that emotion.
Yes.
I have been there. Yeah.
What a blessing it is to have experienced such a thing, because when you experience that, you understand why emotions are a tool instead of, something that should enslave our lives and manage our lives. It's just a completely different perspective. And even our contractual agreements with our family have a completely different perspective at that point, that it comes from being of service to yourself in a collective consciousness instead of some kind of a heavy burden that we feel that we're undertaking and we're stuck, So it was
freedom. You get freedom, right? You're free. You're free of the matrix. You're set free, really free, and what that really feels like.
Absolutely right. And so it's so important for people to experience that, and that can be achieved. It can be achieved through meditation, through going within. And it is necessary, and I'm sure people are tired of hearing that, that it's necessary to meditate, but it's only within that silence and the recess of the mind that we can access this pure consciousness and connect to these Akashic records that are beyond this limited matrix. So the very next day, as I'm returned to my bedroom, I'm upside down on the side of my bed. My bed is totally open. And, I never move when I sleep. So I'm here at the end of my bed completely. Everything is all messed up. And I didn't know what to do with that information. It was so shocking. I was like, am I going crazy? Was that a dream? I wasn't sure. So I shared this story with my parents, they're absolutely so loving and supportive and spiritual. I am blessed with that, and they were, they were like, oh, that's very nice, honey, very nice. But then, what else do you do with the information? So after 2013, Barbara, it took me a couple of years to come to terms with this information, because I was still in between. I didn't know if I should talk about it. I mean, for me, my questions were hybrid children. Like, am I the only one that has hybrid children? Who do I talk to about this? I desperately needed someone to sit down with me and kind of explain things to me. And, I looked online to some things and I found some wonderful resources, but it wasn't enough to help me understand what was happening, and so in 2017, my life completely changed. Right before that, at the very beginning, I decided to sell my business. And of course, I'm teaching meditation. I teach meditation for 10 years now with Bay Area meditation. It's corporate meditation and individual one-on-one. I'm a certified pranic healer, quantum healer, and shamanic training. And, I had kind of created this healing modality that had kind of was a product of my own awakening through those years. Mm-hmm. And basically, I had to deconstruct my entire reality on such a level to be able to understand these things, and so I went through that. And finally, the following week, when I had one of my individual clients, when I sat down next to them for the first time, I can see their entire multidimensional body. I can see their cords, their ancestral connections, manifestations of illness like colors or heat within the body. And I mean, when I saw this, I was so shocked. I was like, oh my God, where did that come from? And for me, that was my proof of what had happened. That was my physical proof. Because before that, even though I was psychic a little bit, I never had that level of clarity of seeing things like that. And so Yeah, and so that was my abduction experience.
Wow, it's huge. It's a huge experience, and how long ago did that happen? Did you say the date?
That was October 14, 2013.
And when you tell your story, isn't it wild that it's like it just happened yesterday, and you know all the detail to it, the download of it?
Oh yeah.
It just blows you away a little bit, right? That it's like it just happened yesterday, and it seems like you get a download that it's just you can kind of click into it and it just goes again.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about these experiences that I like to call them, they're almost realer than real life.
Yeah.
These kinds of memories, they don't go away. It's amazing. Like, I mean, I can't remember what I ate last week, but I can tell you,
detail, right? And
yes.
And I find the color over there, it's more of a technical color. That was my experience, that the color was beyond a color that we know here on the earth. It was a much more brighter color and a live color in some ways.
Exactly. How interesting that you say that, because it's almost like here everything is almost dull, and I don't know, it's just different reality. I don't know if it's their holographic creations or what it is, but everything emits light, everything is glowing. Of course, this is inside of a ship, and this is a product of their holograms.
Right.
But yeah, I agree.
And it's alive. Everything's so alive. That's what everything. Includes yourself.
That's right, including yourself. Yeah.
And see where you go. Well, we're getting close to having a break. And so it'll be in just about 5 minutes. And so if you want to, we could talk. Let's see, what would you... one question that came to mind is, do your children here on Earth know about your hybrid children?
I do not have children on Earth. I'm actually unable to have children, and I'm going to go into that because it's a product of the hybridization program that I was involved in. Okay. And but yeah, no, I do not have children, but my hybrid children, I'm going to explain to you because I have a very specific view on it now. I know some people look at hybrid children as something, so beautiful, so wonderful. But, with the amount of research and information that I've kind of gone through over the past couple of years, I have a very specific view on them and what their purpose is and what they're doing. And so I think it's important to kind of understand a new perspective, and I'm happy to share that with you. So,
when we get back from the break, we'll start in right with that. I think that's important too. Since you've had the experience and you've done your research, and hey, look, this is what I found over 10 years,
right.
And where you're dedicated to it, kind of becomes an obsession, right? Where you've got to find the information and you've got to get to that answer. And it seems like you get one answer and there's 100 other questions because of that one answer.
Exactly. And I mean, that's exactly what happened to me because, well, I'll go into this in the second hour more, but when I had my first regression, that's when everything came out. That's when I was able to see what happened to me, my abductions, what was happening. And that's when truly my eyes opened to the reality beyond the matrix that we live in here, and where I received and was able to see information about that, and I mean, I've had 7 regressions since then. And all of them are public. They're all public for everyone to see because I want to share with you the process of downloading this information, I guess you can say, or receiving this information. I don't consider myself a channel because the majority of the information that I receive is coming from my direct connection to my higher self and my source. Mm-hmm. And so whatever I bring in is something that I have truly experienced personally and seen. So that's where I talk, from the perspective that I talk about it.
So it's a download, a direct download to you, and you want to share it with everyone so that we can keep this all moving forward.
That's right.
Stuck for 20 years or 10 years or however many years we want to move it, right? We're going to keep this going and see where we can go from here. I think that's really interesting about not having children here either. I think there's several people that I know that have been through not similar, but process and they don't have children either. So they decided they did not want to have children either here on the earth.
Right. And that's another thing that I've also made the decision. If I could have children, I probably wouldn't want to, just because of everything. I mean, when you understand all of this matrix and where we're living in, I mean, and the contractual agreements that tie you to children as well, you know, I think there should be a class, you know, in college for people to understand what it really means to have children.
Yeah, let's start that, okay?
I'm serious. Yeah.
I think I'll be teaching about how to have children and how it's okay not to have children. You know, it's not to have children either. And then to have a hybrid race too that works in between then this paradigm as well. So not only are you doing it, but your children are walking between the worlds or between the dimensions as well.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
And so we have like 2 minutes. So do you speak with them very often? Do you get a telepathic hit from them every once in a while, or is it just?
No, I do not speak with the hybrid children again, and I think that's mostly because I kind of understand the agenda that they are carrying out. Now, whether I will try to communicate with them in the future, it could be, but it's my belief, based on the research and information that I've understood, that, I mean, we live in a matrix universe, okay? And it's not just our world that's a matrix, it's a matrix universe. And within that matrix universe, there are other multiverses that are linked to our reality. So in this multidimensional reality that we live in, all of these races are kind of working through very specific parameters that allow them survival within this dimensional reality. So, you know, when you kind of understand that, you know, the races that live here, there's, I guess you can say, maybe a hierarchy of energy and information exchange that is occurring. It's really important for us to understand that, because then we understand what humans are, what role humans play.
A diplomat reported today that their population is evolving rapidly and advancing into a fifth-dimensional consciousness.
And the reality.
They are seeking peace with
right.
all cosmic cultures, which may mean that the Earth will be asked to join the prestigious
Of course, our entire structure of reality is formulated and created to numb down, you know, the many multiple dimensions of the human body. That's what I talk about. You know, that's what I do. I do DNA reprogramming, which focuses on breaking those contractual agreements from the matrix in order to leave the reincarnation cycle.
So when we get back, we'll talk about that. So we're back, everyone. Stay tuned. We'll be back at 6:04.
I am the architect.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I created the Matrix. I've been waiting for you. Why am I here? You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision, which has led you inexorably here.
You haven't answered my question.
The Matrix is older than you know. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equation.
Barbara, can you hear me okay?
The problem is choice.
Right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. Be here Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Private Eye Matrix Revealed with Monique Lassonde.
Hello, my name is Mr. Rowe. I am the host of Reality Extraction on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I utilize logic, intellect, and magic to methodically autonomize, vivisect, analyze, examine, study, scrutinize, and extract an essence of reality from a fog of illusion and confusion. You can find me on Studio B every Thursday, 1700 hours Pacific Time.
Okay, I'm going to go to the restroom
Eastern.
and I'll be back here,
taboo,
okay?
No subject too strange. I strive to take a neutral standpoint during the dissection of the topic at hand. That's Reality Extraction with Mr. Rowe on Revolution Radio.
this is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Thanks for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we are listener-sponsored and commercial-free, but there still are bills to pay. In order to raise some needed funds to cover the cost, our station is offering a silver special. In the continental United States for a $60 donation, or in Alaska, Hawaii, or Canada for a $70 donation, we will send you an uncirculated 2018 1-ounce pure silver eagle. The $70 donation, the extra 10 is to cover shipping, by the way, outside of the continental United States. When making the donation, you must put Silver Eagle promo in the notes on the donation. And thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at revolution.radio and freedomslips.com. Without you, there is no us. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Collision Course is back. Schedule will be on Revolution Radio every Saturday night, 6 to 8 p.m. You get outer space. You get honest answers, real researchers, truthful answers, and a place to engage with questions. Take part in the discussion. Revolution Radio on freedomslips.com hosts Collision Course every Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Okay.
Barbara?
You can go ahead and...
Hi. Can't hear her. I can't hear her. I think she's muted. I think she's explaining something.
Let's see. Can you hear?
Oh, there you are. There you are. Oh, nope, I can't. There you are.
Now we're back. Okay, now you can hear me.
Yes.
So thanks for being patient. We're having all these technical things this evening. So for our listeners who are just joining us for the second hour, if you missed the first hour, it was quite an extraordinary story of truth that Geraldine has the courage to tell and talk about. And not only do that, but she also is a DNA reprogrammer and an Ascension coach, and quite an amazing woman here that brings a lot to the table for helping humanity. And so we just want to applaud your work that you've been doing for so long, Geraldine, and really take you to the future with all of your future students and the changes that we're going to make in all of this sphere. We're going to give fear a suck-it sandwich, right?
That's correct. That's correct. Thank you very much, Barbara. Thank you.
You're welcome, because that's what truth does. truth dispels all that fear, and through information and the truth, and we can make logical steps and emotional steps, but learning and growing and changing and moving our humanity forward. So thanks and welcome back to the show. And I think we'll jump off wherever you want to with whatever you feel like with, if you want to talk about the DNA reactivation or wherever you would like to go.
Sure. I'd like to talk a little bit further first about the reason why I do DNA reprogramming. Okay. And share a little bit with you about this journey that I've had and why this is different, a little different in terms of the experience. In 2017 is when I had my first regression, and I found an amazing regressionist. Her name is Alba Weinman, and she actually was able to take me into the regression to actually confirm the abduction experience that I had. And when that happened, all the information came out. Everything came out about past lives that I've had, of my connection, and the reason why I was involved in that. And then I had a second regression with her later on. And of course, again, you're welcome to see my regressions. They are live. They are on her channel, Alba Weinman, on her website or on her YouTube channel that you can check out. I've also had
that information. Can you spell her name for us?
Absolutely. It's Alba Weinman, WEINMAN. And so you can find her at albaweinman.com or on her YouTube channel. And I'm actually very excited because I'm doing an event with her this weekend. That's why I'm here in Los Angeles. We are doing an Ascension type of an event. She's going to be doing a group hypnotherapy, and I'm going to be doing DNA reprogramming. And so we kind of collaborated with all this information and the importance of ascension, of understanding what ascension is in this matrix. And it's not to say that ascension is something that we need to... Oh, excuse me, something fell. Sorry about that. It's not to say that ascension is something that we need to achieve, okay? We are in a multidimensional reality where in our time and our space, everything is moving in a natural fluid movement of ascension. It is a natural part of the mechanism of this reality. But what happens is that being said, there are things within this matrix universe that are pulling us back, that are not allowing us to access the information that we need as human individuals that hold a source soul. I call it a source soul because when you understand what the matrix universe is in relationships to the concept of source, or the concept of pure infinite consciousness, you understand that there is a certain duality to that. And so when I was in my regressions, I was able to actually see, travel beyond this matrix universe into the multiverse, and then beyond into a megaverse, where I was able to see what it looks like, time and space, beyond our reality and the limitations of physics, science, and math that keep us in this construct that we live in. You know, when we go beyond this reality, we can access different realities. Mm-hmm. There are different laws. There are different laws of physics, of science. And because of that, then the construct of reality and the structure of all of those things that pertain to that reality are going to be different. So what that allows us to kind of comprehend is that everything that is here within this matrix construct is constructed, okay, as a product of its environment and for the survival of that environment. Mm-hmm. Now, I like to reference a cell because a blood cell, as you know, we have over 50,000 genes in the body, but every cell that is a part of a certain part of the body, like, for example, the cell that's in the hand, has everything necessary within its environment of a hand to provide the functions necessary for this hand to move. And in that same way, the different parts of our bodies are growing proteins based on their environments. Now, if we zoom out, we look at the human, and of course we're talking about the concept of epigenetics, right, where your DNA is being written based on your environment in a sense. It's not that simple. There's many parts to it, but if you understand that from your skin, you are absorbing everything around you, the emotions, the energy, the environment. And all of this information is then being processed through the many different sections of the body, filtered through the endocrine system. And the endocrine system is your chakra system, right, within the body. Now, when the human soul, this source essence of pure consciousness, comes into the body, it is organized within the chakra system, creating specific filtration systems based on the soul's lifespan since the beginning of its conception. And we know this because a lot of us that are dealing with problems in our everyday life, sometimes we look through our entire life and we still don't understand what is the root cause of the problems and issues that we're dealing with. And that means that we need to look beyond this physical life that we are in. And when we do, then we start to find that our lineage, our ancestral lineage, holds a lot of very key information pertaining to who we are, to who makes us who we are, our understanding of emotions, of thoughts, of concepts. So this is something that is kind of new that's coming in here to understand, what it means to be human and what our DNA, the information that our DNA holds. And our biology has yet to understand how to get into that information. And it's very important to talk about that because I believe that our DNA is the currency of the universe, of this multiverse, because it's within DNA. As a matter of fact, tech companies here in the Silicon Valley are looking to DNA, to the structure and function of how DNA operates in storing and rewriting information to create information storing that's much more incredibly advanced and expansive. And they're trying to mimic DNA because DNA holds on to such massive amounts of information, So we, as in our current science and our biology, we're looking at a very tiny little window where we categorize DNA from A, B, C negative. We have our or A, B negative. We have our different classifications for DNA. And what we're not looking at is the rest of that information. And that holds a lot more of the combinations of DNA that are linked to your lineage. And all of this runs through family lines. Now, when we talk about the hybridization program is not just between humans and alien races. The hybridization program is happening here on Earth, on this planet. Me, you, our families, our children are all a very complex and, in a sense, created, curated connection of information. And as in other things in our reality, we are connected with the things that we are most in resonance with. So the planet Earth is a combination of souls that are connecting and aligning with each other based on their vibrational frequency, but not just of the physical 3D multidimensional body. We're talking about a larger, standpoint of information that is provided from the DNA lineage that is connected to families and ancestral lineages, and then further on, species, right? Mm-hmm. And this is how the human is a combination of many different kinds of species. We are, I like to call us a cocktail.
Yeah.
We're a cocktail of DNA. And I know that sounds funny, but the truth is,
I like it a lot.
Yeah. The truth is that, some of us, like, for example, me and you that have had these experiences, we don't have these windows and glimpses into this information just for fun.
Right.
This is very important information. And all of you experiencers out there that are experiencing contact and have dreams, have been a participant of the hybridization program, there's a reason why you're remembering, because the majority of the masses, they will have their memory swiped. And I'm not intimidated to say that I can pretty much tell you that probably around 70% of our society is probably involved in the hybridization program, the off-Earth hybridization program on one level or another.
So do you feel we're kind of like we're farmed then? Does it kind of feels like that sometimes, That's a good word maybe, but it's kind of, like we're being farmed here, There's something to that in some ways.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate to use that term, but yes, in a way, you're absolutely right. It's almost as if we are farmed. But the thing is this, right? For you to understand that, you got to understand that in this matrix universe, so that includes the planets, the galaxy, our near galaxies that are all containing life. And life is very vibrant on all of those planets on different dimensions. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean that there is not life on those planets. And so that being said, these beings that have come to create life on this planet have bred with humans, have created human. If you read the book of Enoch, if you read the tablets, the Emerald Tablets, the book of Gilgamesh, you understand all the way back since Mesopotamia, the history of our origins, and how humans were combined with extraterrestrial beings, okay, and much more created by these extraterrestrial beings in a matrix reality, in a matrix universe. And, the story, the Pistis Sophia, and the story of, Sophia and how Sophia was created, right? She breathes life and creating humans, creating the archons, creating the different levels of life that are here in the structured multidimensional reality. And we, as humans that are containing the life force that was breathed out of that Sophia creation, is what we are holding on to within our bodies, which are maintaining, supporting by providing a food source for these beings within the matrix universe. Now, the matrix universe requires the substantial, heavy vibrational energy, which is lower vibrational frequencies from humans, and that's why this planet Earth is structured so incredibly elegantly, right? We have so many different levels of reality and structures of belief that are here. Everything from our families, from the city, from society, from ethical norms, from our culture to our races, to even our languages, is a part of control that creates very unique separation, concepts of separation and division. Okay, and yeah, and yes, that's correct. And creating such a compartmentalized reality makes it very easy to control anyone, any set of conscient beings, in order to make sure that from every angle and every level there is some sort of control, some parameters of belief. And even now, looking at our societies in America and how we're interacting with each other, excuse me, we are becoming, glued to our cell phones here, where we no longer know how to have conversations.
Right.
And the society that is not able...
Right, we are already augmented.
Tremendously. And that's just one level. I mean, if you look at our food that we're eating, which is heavily genetically modified already, the air that we're breathing, we're dealing with chemtrails, and even nanotechnology that is being introduced into our environment. Our body, like sponges, because we are conscious, multidimensional beings, are absorbing all of this information. And what is that for? It's to alter the DNA. That's the ultimate purpose of that. Because when you take a human being that has a very vast collection of strands of DNA with many, many different connections to different species, you can create something that we can think of as a superhuman, right? That has the ability of connecting and communicating with other dimensions. But we have been completely disabled to become these human beings that, by use and becoming slaves of the emotional system, we're not able to know what's up and down, what's left and right. And we believe the illusion, the external illusion that's around us. So we forget to even understand the technology of the human body.
Or the desire is just gone. Even the desire to look, to see.
Even the desire to look. That's right. Because, well, it's kind of robbed from us because we're now in survival mode, right? Our job is to pay our bills.
We got them, right? Keep them in survival. That's a good one. That's like a go for all of it one.
That's exactly right. And it goes even deeper than that, my love, because not only are we in a survival mode, but this extends to our lifespans. Mm-hmm. Okay, we are here on this planet. We have 100 years to live out this fabulous lifetime of, growing up, getting the education, getting married, having children, and then dying, right? That's our life. Yay! Right? Everybody has to live this life. But for God's sakes, are we questioning? Again, we're going to go back to that question. What on earth is this structured reality for? Who are we serving? Yeah. I mean, do we really feel that we are in a school planet that is here to teach us lessons? I think we need to look beyond that, because we are trapped within this cycle that we keep reincarnating.
Yeah. So our work is to shake things up and really shake things up. That's where the fun is. I know that's why I came down here. I know that's why you did. Hey, if we're going to go down to that dense planet with all that crap, we're going to change some things up if we're going,
Oh yeah. That's exactly why I came back. And you too. I mean, a lot of us that are here to awaken people are actually from the future. We actually come back to the future because we've been able to leave the reincarnation cycle on some level and made the contractual agreement to come back. But, we have to be careful, because us conscious people and a lot of the people that are listening right now, you're interested in these topics, not just by chance, not just because, you're curious. There's something within you that knows that you have information to assist. And every human here has the potential of reaching elevated states of consciousness and awareness and connecting to all of this information. But we cannot be lazy, and we cannot keep wanting to experience life constantly, because then we get lost. And then, from all of the centuries of work that you've been doing in lifetimes to leave the reincarnation, now you're coming back, and now you're going back into the rat race, right? And it's hard because we keep believing, let's go get some food. We'll just go out right now, and then later on we'll come back and we'll meditate. But it's not about that. We have to understand that the levels of domination that are here on this planet are infiltrating on a much, much deeper level. And we may think that we're cheating them, but we're only cheating ourselves and our reality, right? There's someone watching from above all these things that are happening here. And it's usually your higher self that's looking down on you.
And it's kind of like a war for your soul in a way here. once you're awake, and then you can just say, hell no, I'm not doing that. I know I'm not doing. Now, the thing is what do I want to do instead?
What do I want to
you start learning and listening to other people's stories and gathering information, and then we start to acclimate, like you're talking about, an acclimation program here on Earth, and we need it right now, not yesterday. So, and it isn't comfortable, and you can't buy it, in a red or blue pill by 5 o'clock, right?
Correct. Oh, no, because here's the thing. As I was explaining to you, we, in our DNA and our lineage, we are connected to networks, right? And so within your family, your immediate family, see, it goes in so deep that every emotion that you have right now, even while listening to this, your reactions, the majority of the processes that are happening in your mind are a product of programming. Whether you've received that programming from your family or from your system or from your society, it's programming. The first 7 years of somebody's life, of a child's life, is when all the basic laws of their programming will come from, basically all the key records. And from then on, the rest of the interactions in life are going to come based on those first 7 years of experience. Now, it doesn't mean you can't overwrite them, but then we have to look at the overlapping layer of influences from your ancestral connections. So what does that mean? That means that when you go in and you start doing some work based on an emotion or a thought, and this goes into my DNA reprogramming, this is what I do. And I'm talking about everyday experiences.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a traumatic situation. You get into that information. What happened? What were you feeling? Okay, where does that come from? Where does that stem? And so we open up this entire gateway of information that allows you to target the key root cause of this emotion. And what you're going to find is that you are connected to your family, maybe it came through your mother, maybe it came through your father's lineage. And as I was mentioning before, we are connected with each other through resonance. Excuse me. That being said, whatever we heal, whatever we clean up, we're cleaning collectively.
Right. Not only for your generation, but for all the future generations to boot. And yeah, so it's good work. It's hard work too. It's not easy. Not easy work sometimes.
No, absolutely not.
You really do have to have courage to take a look at yourself, and you change your perspective. You change your life for the better. So.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that, because yes, it does take courage, and a lot of times we open up very painful areas of our lives that we wanted to forget.
Right.
We were better off without them. But when we go there, and you start to heal and you break the contractual agreements that connect you, you're healing your family too.
Yeah. And future generations.
I'm sorry.
and by you doing the work, it takes a warrior. It really does take a warrior to be able to do it. But the more we're kind of chipping away, right? And not even chipping away, it's kind of like jackhammering out, like this concrete. And sometimes, it feels like that. But it is getting a little bit easier from what I've seen for 10 years, 30 years doing this, it with people like you coming aboard and taking a stance for truth and justice, and let's, kick some major butt while we're here,
That's absolutely right. And so, I know that a lot of light workers, they feel discouraged sometimes. They feel alone. But, the truth is that this is a lonely road. Healing is a lonely road. And it's lonely because you are not understanding how big you are. Like, you're not small. You're huge. You're a beautiful, gigantic, multidimensional being, that this little tiny representation or reflection of yourself is just one fractal of who you really are. I mean, our higher self is this magnificent light. And even more than that, we are connected to many aspects of this multi-reality, okay? For example, when we talk about hybrid children, this is the way that they are spreading out our soul essence in a way, or utilizing biological matter that is consisting of your information, of your DNA, and also to produce life force based on that patterning that has been programmed since the beginning of your essence. So the hybridization program that is creating these hybrids are now linked to you through energetic cords, through informational cords as well. So there's many layers that need to be healed and cleansed and reintegrated for the soul to be able to leave this matrix universe. And it's not to say that it's something that's impossible. It just means that it takes our understanding of things to be able to focus on the work. Mm-hmm. You know, if you understand the importance of reintegrating the fractals of your soul and becoming whole again, which means that you go back to those painful experiences and take back from the trauma all of the aspects of yourself that were broken apart. You know, they know this. This is the science of a true human being, the true human, what the human looks like. You know, in school, we learn the muscles, the different bones, the different organs, and how they function. But we haven't been taught how the multidimensional body functions. And I believe it's imperative for us to start understanding how we work, because then we understand why we are ending up sick, tired, exhausted at the end of the day, and drained mentally, emotionally, on every level. And if the system didn't understand how the multidimensional body worked, all of the things that they're doing to create a fractalized reality wouldn't work, you see?
True.
So
you become neutral, right? Once you go in and are aware. First you're aware, right? And then once you're aware, then you can go back in and change it. And then once you become neutral, that's where your power is.
Correct. And how do you become neutral? You become neutral by reintegrating duality, right? Because right now, the reality that we live in this particular matrix universe is a concentration of feeding off lower vibration. Why? Because lower vibration is a very slow and heavy frequency wavelength that is substantial with that information. So that provides the food source for these beings in the matrix. Mm-hmm. When we are no longer living through the filters of that low vibration, then we start to look at things from a different perspective. Okay, when we clean up the information that is stuck within the chakra system, causing that filtration system, you can then come into neutrality. But that requires you to understand that there is really no good and bad. It's just cause and reaction. Everything is cause and reaction, even if it's the most horrendous thing that is occurring. Because, again, we live in a matrix universe where everything is a product of each other. And if we're killing each other, hurting each other for centuries, we have a lot of heaviness that needs to be cleaned up. And all of that heaviness is split up into different things in entities. And when we mirror that vibration, we are pulling that entity into our energetic space and then working from that perspective. So, this can end up being a tremendous cycle where we end up getting better, but then as soon as we come into a low vibration, we start pulling in these entities and attachments to us over and over again. And so it's required to clean up that. And so when we come into neutrality of that duality of the right and wrong, the light and the dark, all of your darkness that you reject deeply of yourself, when you start to accept that, then it doesn't have as much power over you, right? And you come into this state of understanding and co-creation with all experiences, whether they're good or bad. There's no longer that judgment or that fear. And it is such an empowering state of mind. Yeah. And so that is the empowerment of a human and the power of a human and its ability to leave this matrix.
Yeah. And a state of beingness which has nothing to do with the body sometimes too. Because we are multidimensional. That means we could take on, let's say, another body on another planet that works for that planet. And then we can go into all sorts of different dimensional realities of who we are and why we're here. And if you want to lead with that. And then I did want you to talk about a little bit about a relationship with Earth, because I think that's important.
A relationship with Earth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly to add one small note to what you were saying, because you're correct. I mean, as a matter of fact, there's so much information to talk about and there's not enough time. But because we live in a multidimensional reality, dream time is actually one of the most powerful and important spaces in our reality that we have to do our work. So yes, our body is accessing different dimensions constantly. We are constantly moving in and out of different dimensions. So in dream time, if we learn how to navigate those dreams and to do our work, what I've seen is that the majority of people, all the work that they're not doing in their conscious day, they're doing in the night, and they may not be aware of that. But our reality extends much further than the 12 hours that we are awake, if that. So the connection with the earth is incredibly important. The earth in itself, as a physical organism per se, is a regenerative mechanism that is like a recycling system that turns death into life. And in this planet Earth, the way that the energy functions in that toroidal manner, creating, the Van Halen belts around the Earth, it has its own electromagnetic field. In that same way, the human has the exact same thing. We have our own electromagnetic field. Every organ has its own electromagnetic field, and our body has its electromagnetic field. And so, as you can see, our reality is just mirroring our environment. Mm-hmm. So our relationship with Earth is very important, and primarily working with the Earth for our healing. So for grounding, our connection to this physical plane is imperative to understand how to navigate the physical plane, number one. Number two, because we are soul humans, we have the ability of healing the planet Earth collectively. Even though the planet Earth is a product of this matrix universe, this is still a natural organism which is full of life force supporting our life. And if we become educated in how to utilize that life force, we can move things a lot quicker. Now, something that I've come into contact with recently over the past year, and I've seen more and more, is ancestral grid work with the earth, because our lineage and our ancestral connections are not only just our DNA and our family, it's also connected to our earth, because the lifetimes that we've lived, the majority of them for our humans here are here on this planet Earth. So we have very deep roots and deep connections connecting us to Earth. Any family lineages that have any kind of dark magic or, any kind of satanic work that are more healing arts that are working with the Earth, there's very heavy contractual agreements with that. And when you look at the history of our ancestry and the bloodlines, the original bloodlines that seeded life on this planet, you're going to see that a lot of the pagan rituals done with Earth were created to enlace a lot of humans to the Earth. Okay, and so that means that the healing and cleaning up that we need to do involves working with Earth, cleaning up those contractual agreements. Anytime there are, I see that a lot. I mean, especially in Asia, in Europe, in South America, and Africa. America is newer per se, but there are very, very heavy connections. Now, let's take it to the lighter side. That's the darker aspect of working with the earth. Now, coming to the lighter side, there are on the planet Earth, because of this beautiful organism and because of its energetic construct, key areas on the planet Earth that you can call them chakras or vortexes of energy, which are distributed throughout the Earth. And I'm talking about, Mount Shasta, Hawaii, Banff in Canada, Arizona, in Sedona, the crystals, the pyramids, the major megaliths around the planet Earth that are very carefully calculated in where they are located are placed specifically on key points that create vortexes of healing energy, regenerative energy. And even further, if you take it a step further, a lot of these incredible monuments and architecture are created specifically to assist the human within the reincarnation cycle. Okay. And I invite you to take a look at the work of Freddie Silva. He talks about this. He's incredible. His research that he's done, I really love his work. And also, I cannot remember his name right now, but I think his name is Dr. Osmovic. He is the man in Romania that discovered the Romanian pyramids, and he talks a lot about that as well, about the mathematical calculations that are so exact to these pyramids and these locations that provide this energetic force that is healing, regenerative for the human. So it's incredibly important for the human to visit these locations to regenerate, to heal, and learn how to utilize those vortexes of energy for healing themselves and their ancestral lineage. Okay, so there's a lot of work to be done, and we really have to get on board. We have to start being conscious and aware of the tools. Number one, the human body is the most advanced technology in the multiverse that we live in. And we need to start learning how to utilize this technology of the body. We need to start understanding how we are interacting with other humans here, how we cord energetically to them, how we are exchanging energy with them, how to break contractual agreements, how to heal. It's levels of consciousness that we all have access to if we want. We just have to, do a little work, go inside, take some time for silence.
Mm-hmm. Take some action, right? Not all of it. And it is a lot in the heart, where the heart is the key to all of it in so many ways.
Absolutely. The heart is the connection. Okay, the top three chakras are the real eyes. I like to call them the real eyes of the human body. When we disconnect the first three chakras, we are pulling away the tentacles that are connected to the physical plane. And we open the heart, the throat, and the third eye to actually train our body to see. But there's a process to this. You have to be protected. You have to be conscious of your space. And, you have to train to do this.
It takes practice.
Yes.
So can you tell our listeners where they can get a hold of you? The best, let's hear some of your websites and what you're going to be doing in the future. And let's let them connect with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You can find me if you'd like to get a DNA reprogramming with me at GERALDINEOROZCO.com or BayAreaMeditation.com. And I just recently opened a support group for hybrid mothers. And yes.
That's good.
Yes, and it's I know. I'm very excited to be doing this, and I'm collaborating with a couple very good friends of mine within the field, Tana Newberry and Misha Johnson. You can find information about that on hybridmother.com, and it's also for hybrid fathers, hybrid mothers, and hybrids that are, they don't know where to go for information. Mothers and women. We haven't gotten to my hybridization experiences at all during this time, but.
Back again.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You can see some of the hybridization procedures that I have undergone on Alba's YouTube channel. You can see it's Alba's Regression 178. You're welcome to check it out and to take a look at how it is. It's a little bit graphic, but it helps other women that are going through these processes, of becoming pregnant and not knowing how they became pregnant, having miscarriages. I mean, there are very real physical experiences that occur when a woman is going through the hybridization program that, we talk about this on a level where we're like, oh, you get to see your children and more of a fantasy level, but there's also a very real side to this. And in my own life, I've experienced those experiences bleeding into my life by getting sick, by ending up at a hospital. And my aunt was involved in that as well. My family was involved in that as well. And there's many different programs, not just the aliens, but also terrestrial programs like in my lab, military laboratory experiences, where there is also hybridization programs. And I have been a part of that as well. So, there's so much to talk about. There's so many things to cover, but it's important for us to start the conversation so we can get to that deep information. So please feel free to check that out. And I will be speaking at Stargate to the Cosmos here at the end of the month. And I'll be speaking at several other conferences. You can check out my website for more information on that. And yeah, my book will be published soon about all these experiences. I'm finishing up some final details on there, and I should have it out shortly. I know, I'm so excited about that.
That's exciting. That's really, really wonderful. It's just a book's always it's such a difficult thing to do, but once you finish it, have it done, and it's just like, wow, it's quite an achievement.
So if you'd like to get a session with me, it requires at least 2 hours for the session. It's a 4-part session. The first part is focused on training to use the technology of the physical body. Then we go into a little mini regression where you access the key root cause of your trauma or programming. And then I go in to do a scan of the human body to take a look at any kind of blockages, entities, attachments, helping you remove them, and then a complete realignment and reconnection to source. And the purpose of the session is for you to learn how to do it yourself, and so that you can continue that work, because it's not just one time. This is an ongoing thing that we have to be very aware of doing. So, it was such an honor being on this show today with you, Barbara, and I am so grateful for the platform and opportunity to speak.
Oh, it's definitely our pleasure to have you here, and we really want to applaud all of your work and just see you doing so much in the future. You're just getting started.
Yes, thank you. I certainly hope so, and I'm here to serve. So in any way that I can be of service, I'm happy to do so. So thank you.
Well, thanks for coming on this evening, and we'll have to have you back again. And I love Nisha Johnson's work. I look forward to meeting her at the conference too. And the other lady, what was her name again? The other?
Tana Newberry. Please check us out. We have a radio show every Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. on Starseed Awakening Radio, and we talk about hybrids. We have incredible speakers come on, so I would love to have you on. And also, I have my own radio show with Dave Scott on the Spiritual You, which happens every first Tuesday of the month. On Spaced Out Radio. Yeah.
I love Dave Scott. I just love him. I've never met him, but I absolutely just love him and his work.
You've got to meet him. He's wonderful. I hope you do. I hope we see him at one of the conferences coming up.
Yeah. Great. And they can also contact you on Facebook?
Absolutely. hybridmother.com, Bay Area Meditation, or you can add me at Geraldine Orozco. So please feel free to get in touch in any of those ways. Questions, concerns, hybrid mothers and fathers that are experiencing right now, don't know what to do, looking for the next step, looking for resources and healing and protection techniques. Because a lot of parents have children that are experiencing abduction and don't know what to do as well. And so that's something that we are providing resources for. So please do give me a shout out. I'll be talking in a documentary that will be coming out shortly called Extraordinary: The Seeding, and it's a documentary focused on hybrid parents. So please look out for that one. It's going to be out very soon, and you can learn a little bit more about the hybrid program.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll be back again, and we'll talk more specifically on the hybridization program and your experiences with it and what you see, that how people can be helped with acknowledging that, and then the tools that are available to them to be able to acclimate that experience into their reality.
That's correct. That is correct. I would love to. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for all your work. You're amazing. And I'm please support Barbara. Please like and follow her page. And, we got to keep supporting each other here. So
connection, that's what it's all about. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Cosmic Oracle Show today. And this is your host, Barbara Jean Lindsey. It's been a pleasure and an honor to have my new friend, Geraldine Orozco. Is that how you, Orozco, correct?
Orozco, you got it.
Orozco. Thank you so much, my sister. I look forward to seeing you at the conference. And for all of our listeners, have a great weekend. Take care, and we'll see you next week on the Cosmic Oracle Show. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Oh, gee. Oh my God, I was coughing so bad. Barbara? I don't know. Let's see. Hey, Barbara, can you hear me? Are you still on here?
That's the reason that Khashoggi was thrown out of Saudi Arabia. And then, of course,
listen to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. And we'll be right back after this message. Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Any commercial advertising you may hear in this program is of the sole discretion and benefit of the host of whose program you are listening to. Revolution Radio does not endorse any commercial products, nor does it accept monetary compensation for on-air advertising of commercial products, nor will it ever. We are and shall remain 100% listener supported. Any product advertising on this program are considered used at buyer risk, and Revolution Radio shall not be held liable for any claims or damages received from any product advertised within this program. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Thanks for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we are listener-sponsored and commercial-free. But there still are bills to pay. In order to raise some needed funds to cover the cost, our station is offering a silver special. In the continental United States for a $60 donation, or in Alaska, Hawaii, or Canada for a $70 donation, we will send you an uncirculated 2018 1-ounce pure silver Eagle. The $70 donation, the extra 10 is to cover shipping, by the way, outside of the continental United States. When making the donation, you must put Silver Eagle promo in the notes on the donation. And thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at revolution.radio and freedomslips.com. Without you, there is no us. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Take a look around, kid. What do you see? Homes being foreclosed, People working 2-3 jobs just to put food on the table and still drowning in debt. Don't get me wrong. This country is founded on great ideals and principles. They've all been ruined by the banks. Open your eyes to the banks that are robbing you. You know who my favorite president was? Who? Thomas Jefferson. Because he saw all of this coming and tried to stop it. He fought the banks. JFK too, and they killed him for it. The banking institution is more dangerous than an army, he said. He also said that every generation needs a revolution, Jimmy. The American dream is just that. Just a dream. War is a continuation of politics, only by other means. Politics is a continuation of economics by other means. This is our bank.